It's the 25th of November 2024. This is a brand new edition of Newsfirst's Prime Time News, coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Bringing you the news tonight for the Newsfirst team, I am Jaimal Ratnayaka.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekara. Here are your headlines for tonight.
Low pressure area over the Bay of Bengal intensifies into a depression. Department of Meteorology issues red alert. Protest march held demanding authorities to resolve E8 visa issues to Korea. Is the E8 visa process related to human trafficking? Foreign Employment Bureau clarifies.
එතකොට මේක ඇත්තටම ගත්තොතින් human trafficking වලට වැටිච්ච අනීතික මාර්ගයෙන් රටක පොරවැසියන් පිටරට සංක්‍රමණය කරවීමට ගත්ත නීති අනුකූල නොවන ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් විදියට වැටලා තියෙනවා.
Electricity consumers to receive concessions under the charge structure if tariff revision proposal is not submitted by the 6th of December. PUCSL instructs CEB. Solicitor General Ayesha Jinasena appointed the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice. State officials who act lawfully will be protected. An assurance from the President.
මම ඕගලන්ට එක සහතිකයක් දෙන්නම්. මේ නීති අනපනත් අනුව වැඩ කරන්න. ඒකට අපෙන් කිසි බාධාවක් එන්නේ නැහැ.
On to our top story for tonight, the Department of Meteorology has issued a red alert for the land and the deep and shallow seas around Sri Lanka.
We as Newsfirst, we have been bringing you the updates about the current weather situation in Sri Lanka. So as all of you know, Sri Lanka has been experiencing heavy rainfall during the past few days. So the Met Department today issued a red alert regarding this situation. So this is the area which we have been talking about right now. This is a low pressure area over the southwest Bay of Bengal, which is intensified into a depression or the central southwest Bay of Bengal by today morning. So according to the Met Department, this system is located 600 kilometers southeast of Trincomalee at around 8:30 a.m. today morning. So according to the Met Department, showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the northern, north central, eastern, central and over provinces. So if I can show you, this system which is located at the southwest Bay of Bengal will be moving towards the southern part of India by the 27th and the 28th of November. So we'll be bringing you the latest updates about the weather situation in Sri Lanka during the next few days as well. So reporting to you right now, I am Budni Namaradiwakara for Newsfirst.
The low pressure area in the southeast Bay of Bengal now intensifying into a depression in the central part of Bay of Bengal. Now it is located around 600 kilometers southeast from the Trincomalee. So we are expecting that the system further development as a deep depression next 24 hours, and also system is likely to move parallel to the east coast towards the Tamil Nadu coast during next 2 days. Cloudy skies can be expected most part of the island, and also the very heavy showers, about 150 millimeters can be expected some places in the northern, north central and some area of the northwestern part of the country, and as well as the Trincomalee district. Also other areas of the country we can expect thunder showers in the evening or nights. This system highly affecting for the sea areas around the island, especially deep and shallow sea areas. Therefore naval and fishing communities are advised to not to venture the deep and shallow sea areas around the island until further notice.
Meanwhile, the landslide warnings issued for 6 districts including Badulla, Galle, Mathura, Kergol, Nuwara and Ratnapura remain in effect.
During the 24-hour window that ended at 8:30 a.m. today, the highest rainfall was recorded in Kuchaveli with a total of 165.5 millimeters. Other areas that experienced significant rainfall include Trincomalee with 127 millimeters and Balapitiya with 110 millimeters. The northern, north central and eastern provinces were the most affected. In the Trincomalee district, low-lying areas in Topur, Sampur, Mallikaitiu and Pallikudiripu in the Muttur Divisional Secretariat have been submerged for several days.
දැන්ට වාර්තා වී ඇති දත්තයන් අනුව යාපනය, පුත්තලම, කෑගල්ල, මන්නාරම
According to the latest reports, 16,287 people from 4,410 families in Jaffna, Puttalam, Kegol, Mana, Kilinochchi and Ratnapura districts are currently affected by the floods. 60 partially damaged houses and one completely destroyed house have been reported in Jaffna. In the Mana and Trincomalee districts, 1,136 people from 330 families are seeking shelter at 14 safety camps. The government, with the help of district secretaries, is providing necessary facilities to those affected. I urge everyone to stay alert and closely follow warning notices. Being prepared is everyone's responsibility. Please pay attention to these advisory notices for your safety.
Sluice gates of several reservoirs have been opened due to heavy showers. 6 sluice gates of the Rajangane reservoir were opened this morning, releasing 6,110 cubic feet per second of water into the Kala Oya. The irrigation engineer has advised residents living in low-lying areas on both banks of the Kala Oya to remain cautious of rising water levels. 2 sluice gates of the Angamu reservoir were opened, releasing 1,844 cubic feet per second of water into the Lunuoya. Heavy showers over the past few days have caused the Kuda River to overflow, impacting local communities in Vaunia. Sluice gates of the Murtavela reservoir were also opened, releasing 937 cubic meters per second of water into the Urubokka Oya. The sluice gates of the Konduwatuan River in Ampara have been opened, flooding approximately 250 acres of land in the surrounding areas. Due to the prevailing heavy showers, water levels in several rivers have risen. The gauge at the Baddegama water measurement point in the Ging River showed a reading of 2.85 meters this morning. Minor floods were reported due to the overflowing of the Nilwala River, Kirama Aru and Urumuttu Oya. Reports indicate that roads around the Akurassa Kamburupitiya road have been submerged due to flooding. The Lenabatu River in Matara has been overflowing, leading to floods in the Akurassa Kamburupitiya road. The Kala Oya has overflowed, forcing the closure of the Mana road, which passes through the Vilpatu National Park. Heavy showers have caused a landslide near Gampaha, blocking a section of the Valimada Udupussallava road. Authorities have warned that further landslides are possible in the area. In the Polonnaruwa district, many paddy fields that had just begun their harvesting season are now underwater owing to heavy rain. Low-lying areas such as the Palliyagodalla, Pamburana, Kirimatiya, Dangwalmankanda, Sungavila and Dulana have been flooded. In Mahayaya Walasmulla, many acres of crops have been submerged. Around 500 acres of land in Potankadu, Agbopura, Jayantipura, Vanala and Dulweva in Kantale have been affected due to floods. The Triforces have also facilitated the safe transportation of students sitting for their advanced level exams.
In more local news, 2 groups of South Korean job seekers staged a protest opposite the premises of the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment in Battaramulla this morning. Later, one group initiated a protest march demanding an immediate solution to the visa issue.
Today marks the 3rd day of protests staged by a group of organized E8 visa applicants who are engaged in a demonstration opposite the Foreign Employment Bureau in Battaramulla. The E8 visa allows individuals to travel to South Korea for temporary employment lasting up to 8 months in the agriculture and fisheries sectors. The protesters claim that despite being offered registered employment opportunities in South Korea's Won-do province, delays in registration by the Foreign Employment Bureau have prevented 107 applicants from travelling. The group later began their protest march.
A group that marched from Battaramulla arrived at the President's office. A few members of the group were given the opportunity for a discussion at the President's office.
This is the response of the Bureau of Foreign Employment.
කිසිම විදියකටවත් මේ වන විට ලංකාවේ බියුරෝ එක
In no way has the Foreign Employment Bureau of Sri Lanka provided any facility to private agencies or groups to send our workers abroad under the E8 visa category. Without our knowledge, a former minister signed the MOU personally, even though the cabinet paper was still being processed. Even if the MOU is signed, we, the Bureau, must be informed afterwards. The process approval should be carried out through proper documentation, such as the demand letter or business agreement via the Bureau. According to the information we have, private groups with personal connections to him have taken control of this visa and started sending children abroad after training them without following the proper procedure. Only after this, the embassy informed us, mentioning the imposition of aggressive fee charges. This is considered human trafficking as it involves illegal actions taken to facilitate the migration of citizens to foreign countries through unlawful means. We are taking very strict action regarding this matter and have already reported it to the CID. An audit has been conducted regarding this. We strongly advise children, do not fall for this scheme. It will not lead to secure jobs. We cannot approve this as the Bureau. If anyone thinks that the Bureau is depriving these children of this opportunity, that is not the case. We can see that individuals who have received help from politicians, issued licenses unethically, and been involved with brokerage groups have intervened in this matter and are leading the protests. We can never legalize these visas for any reason.
A group who had travelled to Korea under the E9 visa system for employment and later returned participated in a protest in Battaramulla. The E9 visa is a 5-year program granted to individuals who pass the Korean language test, allowing them to work in South Korea.
We are trained workers with years of experience and we understand the demands of the work, the climate and Korean laws. Yet there is a tendency to prioritize sending untrained workers over us who are qualified and experienced. We are not saying it is wrong to send unskilled workers, but why overlook those who have been unfairly denied opportunities for so many years? On the 3rd of June 2023, we held a discussion with then Minister Manusha Nanayakara. The details of this discussion were shared on the 7th of June 2023 through the official Facebook page of the Foreign Employment Bureau and the official Facebook page of Manusha Nanayakara. It was announced that we would be sent immediately with photos of those who returned from Korea. They announced the decision to send us under that quota as false news. Despite our persistent questioning on this matter, they failed to provide a clear answer. Their repeated excuse is that we are now too old. But the reason we have aged is that since 2018, we have been compelled to resit the exam year after year.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has informed the Ceylon Electricity Board that if the tariff revision proposal is not submitted by the 6th of December, consumers will receive concessions under the charge structure. This decision follows a request from the CEB for a 2-week extension to submit the proposal.
Issuing a statement, the Public Utilities Commission said that the Ceylon Electricity Board must provide immediate relief to consumers. The PUCSL also reminded that the CEB had previously requested extensions on 2 occasions to prepare the tariff revision proposal, which has now been delayed by a month.
Reuters has reported, quoting Bloomberg, that the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation said that it is reviewing the impact of Department of Justice bribery allegations against the founder of India's Adani Group on the agency's prior agreement to lend more than $550 million to a Sri Lankan port development backed by the group.
Reuters reported that the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation last November said it would provide $553 million in financing for the port terminal project in Colombo. The project is partly owned by the Adani Group. Federal prosecutors in New York on Wednesday announced that Gautam Adani, the billionaire founder of the Adani Group, and 7 other individuals had been indicted on charges of paying about $265 billion in bribes to Indian government officials to obtain contracts expected to yield $2 billion of profit over 20 years and develop India's largest solar power plant project. According to Reuters, an official with the development agency said in a statement, quote, DFC is aware of the recent allegations related to Adani and is actively assessing the ramifications in light of the recent Department of Justice announcement, unquote. The report added that the agency said that no funds have yet been disbursed under the loan commitment.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
Generators for long-term rent. Multiways Engineering Private Limited.
A trusted place for your fixed deposit. Valuable FD, a symbol of stability.
A delegation including Vice Minister of the International Department of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, Sun Yan, met with President Anurukumara Dissanayake today.
During the meeting, the Vice Minister of the International Department of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, Sun Haiyan, extended her congratulations to President Anurukumara Dissanayake on his victory in the presidential election and his party's resounding success in the parliamentary election. She commended the transformative changes in Sri Lanka following these wins, highlighting the emergence of a new and progressive political culture. Sun Haiyan, along with the Chinese delegation, expressed China's readiness to collaborate with Sri Lanka under the leadership of President Dissanayake. They emphasized the alignment of the goals of both nations and discussed the potential for long-term cooperation on mutually beneficial grounds. The delegation reaffirmed China's willingness to assist Sri Lanka in various developmental initiatives, including investments, technological exchanges, digitalization, and uplifting the rural economy. Additionally, China pledged support for enhancing Sri Lanka's human resource development, particularly by providing training for officials in the education sector. President Anurukumara Dissanayake expressed his gratitude to the Chinese government for its steadfast support and assured his commitment to fostering continued cooperation between the two nations.
A 3-day workshop for newly elected members of Parliament kicked off today.
Throughout the workshop, the newly elected members of Parliament will be introduced to key topics, including their roles and responsibilities as parliamentarians, parliamentary privileges, the legislative process, how to select committee functions, permanent appointments, and various procedures related to the Constitution.
I believe that by gaining a clear understanding of the Constitution, parliamentary standing orders and the traditions of Parliament, we will better be equipped to fulfill our important responsibilities in advancing the parliamentary process of Sri Lanka in a structured and meaningful way.
Open Parliament concept. Viurtha Parliamentu Sankalpaya Shaktimat Karamin.
Our aim should be to strengthen the concept of an open parliament. By making parliament more transparent and accessible through public representation, we can bring the work of parliament closer to the people and make it more effective, especially in this era of rapid technological advancement and innovation. Through this open concept, we can better serve the people and provide public representatives with a greater opportunity to take on their responsibilities.
Parliamentu harha මහජන නියෝජිතවරුන්ට අති විශාල කාර්යභාරයක් කිරීමේ ඉඩ ප්‍රස්තාව තිබෙනවා.
අපි අමාත්‍ය දූර දරන්න පුළුවන්, නියෝජ්‍ය අමාත්‍ය දූර දරන්න පුළුවන් විවිධ තන.
Whether we hold positions like ministers or deputy ministers, it is important to remember that above all, first and last, we are representatives of the people. Our role is to serve the citizens of this country. The negative perceptions about Parliament, such as the belief that it doesn't truly represent the public, can only be changed if we all work together, stay true to our values and keep the people's interests at heart.
ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ අන්න ඒ වැදගත් කරුණ අපි සියලු දෙනාම හොඳින් මතක තියාගෙන ආරක්ෂා කරොත් පමණයි.
Meanwhile, newly appointed MP Dr. Ramanathan Arjuna, who sat on the opposition leader's seat during the inaugural session of the 10th Parliament, apologized for the incident today.
I apologize to the media, our people and fellow parliamentarians. At the time, no specific name was displayed on the seat. I clearly explained in English, Sinhala and Tamil that if there had been even a small label or indication, I would have chosen another seat. I apologized for the misunderstanding that led to me sitting there. Then the Speaker and other members addressed the issue, and I believe that the matter has been resolved today.
President Anurukumara Dissanayake today assured that the necessary framework would be put in place to allow state sector employees to carry out their duties without any hindrance.
I want to give you one clear assurance. You will be able to work according to the laws and regulations, and there will be no barriers from us. We are not asking you to break the law or ignore the rules. If you feel the regulations are not enough, feel free to suggest improvements and we'll make them stronger. The key is that we need to start somewhere. First, follow the existing laws and regulations and we'll support you in that. If, while working within those limits, any state sector employee faces harm or undue pressure, we'll stand by you. Don't be afraid to do your job. We are here to protect you.
The President expressed these views at the event held when Deputy Defence Minister Aruna Jayasekara assumed duties today. The President also engaged in discussions with disaster management officials. Deputy Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs, Attorney Sunil Watakala, assumed duties today. This was at the Suhurupaya building in Battaramulla.
As the ministry works with the public, the law has unfortunately become something that applies differently to ordinary people and to those in power. This inequality has opened the door for a much needed political transformation. We must be clear. We have no moral or legal right to delay, obstruct or weaken the enforcement of the law in this country. We cannot excuse ourselves by saying things like the law couldn't tackle drug-related crimes or authorities couldn't act because of underworld influence. If we cannot ensure that the law and justice are fair to the innocent people of this country, then we have no business being in these positions.
නීතිය හා සාධාරණත්වය අපිට ඉෂ්ට කරලා දෙන්න බැයි නම් අපි මේ තනතුරු වල ඉඳලා වැඩක් නැහැ.
President Anurukumara Dissanayake has appointed 2 new ministry secretaries. President's Counsel Ayesha Jinasena has been appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice and National Integration. Malarbadi Gangadharan will serve as the Secretary to the Ministry of Rural Development, Social Protection and Community Empowerment. The letters of appointment were handed over today at the President's office by the Secretary to the President, Dr. Nandika Sanat Kumar Nayaka. President's Counsel Ayesha Jinasena, who was appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Justice and National Integration, assumed her duties this evening. President's Counsel Jinasena previously served as the Solicitor General at the Attorney General's Department. After assuming duties this evening, she engaged in discussions with officials from various departments and institutions under the Ministry of Justice and National Integration.
News First with the people.
A walk was held today in Colombo to mark the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
The walk, which began at Independence Square and concluded at the Colombo Municipal Council, was organized to raise awareness about gender-based violence and show support for survivors. Participants wore orange as a symbol of solidarity, representing support for survivors and a global commitment to eliminating gender-based violence.
I'm here today for the 16 days launch because we all need to make sure that violence against women and girls.
From the police side, we have established many steps to assure the women's rights and the security. So already we have introduced 109 hotline. So women now can report any kind of harassment to 24/7 to Women and Children Bureau.
In all countries around the world, gender-based violence is a problem, and we're looking here to raise awareness and to create community spirit that will help to ensure, as best we can, that gender-based violence is reduced and eradicated, not just in Sri Lanka, but all around the world.
Violence against women is a huge problem, and this year we're focusing on violence in the public sphere and safe public spaces that are so important for women to thrive, for women to develop, but it's also so important for a country to tackle.
It's a cultural thing in Sri Lanka. A lot of people who actually go through this don't know how to come out. It's the shame of being having to go through something like this. So I think it's really important that girls especially talk about it, maybe with their parents or even with a close friend, and also to know that it's nothing to be ashamed of, and I think we need to really put a stop to it.
Prime Minister Dr. Harinamra Surya, several female members of parliament and diplomats also joined the launch of the global 16 days of activism against gender-based violence at the Colombo Municipal Council, reaffirming their commitment to ending violence against women in Sri Lanka.
On behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, I stand here in solidarity with the UN Sri Lanka, the Forum Against GBV, and the many civil society organizations and stakeholders engaged in this critical effort. As we align ourselves with the UN global theme towards 30 years of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, Unite to End Violence Against Women, we are reminded of the commitments made nearly 3 decades ago. Sri Lanka reaffirms its commitment to the Beijing Declaration and the critical areas of concern, including ending violence against women. However, affirming our commitments is not enough. If we are to end gender-based violence, we must move beyond words to action. The government will also prioritize creating inclusive public spaces, transport systems, workplaces, and institutions that are free from harassment and violence. This requires a multi-sectoral approach, aligning policies, allocating resources, and holding ourselves accountable for progress.
The International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, observed on the 25th of November each year, serves as a crucial platform for raising awareness about gender-based violence. In his message for the 2024 International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said, "The epidemic of violence against women and girls shames humanity. Every day, on average, 140 women and girls are killed by someone in their own family. Around 1 in 3 women still experience physical or sexual violence." Within the UN Declaration on the Elimination of Violence Against Women issued by the UN General Assembly in 1993 defines violence against women as any act of gender-based violence that results in or is likely to result in physical, sexual or psychological harm or suffering to women, including threats of such acts, coercion or arbitrary deprivation of liberty, whether occurring in public or private life. This affects women at all stages of their life, including education, employment and opportunities. According to the UN, some women and girls, such as those in vulnerable situations or humanitarian crises, migrants, LGBTI, indigenous people or those with disabilities face greater risks.
Tens of thousands of protesters are marching towards Pakistan's capital Islamabad as part of nationwide protests calling for the release of former Prime Minister Imran Khan.
Pakistan's capital has been placed under security lockdown to prevent supporters of jailed former Prime Minister Imran Khan from marching to Islamabad as a part of the nationwide protest to seek his release. Authorities suspended mobile and internet services in areas which present security concerns and blocked highways leading to Islamabad in advance of the nationwide final call protest organized by the opposition Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party. Most major roads of Islamabad have also been blocked by the government, with shipping containers and large contingents of police and paramilitary personnel have been deployed in riot gear to halt the march from reaching the parliament. The Islamabad police said in a statement, gatherings of any sort have been banned under legal provisions. The PTI's demands include the release of all its leaders, including Khan, as well as the resignation of the current government led by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif in the wake of what it says was a rigged election earlier this year.
Preparations are underway for the Junior Symphony Orchestra's concert set to take place on the 3rd of December at the Lionel Wendt Theatre.
We leave you tonight with an update on the concert. Thank you very much for stopping by at Primetime News.
Good night.
What is the Junior Symphony Orchestra concert? Well, it is a testament to months of hard work and dedication by the students and everyone involved. Young musicians as young as 11 years old coming together to perform pieces by Beethoven, Bach and more. This is truly remarkable. Let's have a look at their rehearsals. The stage is set and excitement is building as the Junior Symphony Orchestra prepares for its highly anticipated concert. The orchestra is made up of students aged 11 to 25 hailing from schools and universities across Sri Lanka. Led by conductor Dushanti Pereira, the event will feature the remarkable talents of young musicians from across Sri Lanka.
The whole purpose of the JSO is to nurture the young musicians and get them to a higher standard of playing, particularly in orchestral playing. And this has not been just the last few decades, it's been going on for many years. When I was a teenager, the symphony orchestra was nurturing us, and this is where we are now. So it is something very special that the symphony orchestra has not stopped, and they are continuing to nurture and improve the quality of young musicians in Sri Lanka.
Naveen Fernando, the principal trumpet player of the Symphony Orchestra, will also take the conductor's baton for several pieces performed by the Junior Symphony Orchestra.
The program is very exciting. We have from classical to pops, and it's amazing to see these all young people taking up these difficult instruments and performing, and also the dedication with all the the commitments they have with their studies and exams. I think this concert is going to be an exceptional one. It's going to be an amazing show. Please come to see it.
The performance will feature a variety of pieces, blending classical and contemporary styles to highlight the students' progress and creativity.